Now, over the years, we've had many brilliant people work on Doctor Who, and there's always different names that get mentioned, rumoured or confirmed in some cases of who's going to be working on the show. So we thought we would take a look at a few people that we'd love to see work on the show in various different aspects.
Yes. Do we discuss, though, first, that amazing idea of a surprise?
I don't know what you're about.
You don't know what we're on about? No.
I've slept since then. I don't know.
You've slept since then?
What's happened?
Okay. So, that multi-platform story, that's 5-parter, that got revealed. And I thought the reveal was going to be something different, considering the clock stopped on 11. I thought we were going to get some more of Matt Smith Doctor, be it in Big Finish or anything, or audiobook in some capacity, but...
We didn't. The thing is, I think a multi-platform thing like that is a nice, cool idea. And I read the press release first and thought, oh, this sounds quite interesting. And then I watched the teaser that was put out, and it sort of killed any interest I had in it stone dead, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, you and me both. I'm still going to give it a listen, out of pure curiosity. I don't want to write it off completely, but I'm concerned that I'm not going to be able to enjoy it.
I like the fact that they've done something different. I like the fact that we're not just always relying on nostalgia for these things. Like Time Lord Victorious was very much, look, David Tennant. And this is
a big thing.
Yeah. And then this is, it's doing something different, and I think it could be interesting. And we are basing it off 1-2 minute sort of teaser, but this is the face of, the assassin that's taking part of the whole thing. And to be honest with me, it didn't really grab me.
No, me. It seems like it might be aimed more towards children than anything else.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that, why would you have an assassin that's going to be killed or something? It's just, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure people have died in kids' TV before.
Well, yeah, but when you're making the entire plot around...
The dog died in Old Yeller.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just...
Yeah, it's not amazing. But,
I'm sure we'll see what happens. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that will enjoy it. It's just not really my cup of tea. That's fine.
Hell, we may enjoy it. I think we should still go into this open-minded.
It's still going to cost a fortune, though.
That's the thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to try and...
The Big Finish stuff alone, I think, is going to cost about 30, 40 odd quid.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Maybe it'll be something we'll look at later. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be worth a look, anyways.
Yeah, but today is all about people who have been, not been anywhere near Doctor Who, but need to be.
Yes.
So we've each picked a couple of them, and we're going to go from all sort of walks of life. We're not just picking people that we want to see write it, for example, or direct it, whatever. Just 3 talented people that stand out to us as someone whose talents could be used very well in Doctor Who.
Yes, and I believe we'll have Will go first, as I went first on our last selection choice.
So my first choice is an actor. This actor is Adrian Lester of Hustle fame, many other great things. He's a very, very good actor. I don't know if, we're obviously doing this as if we can just pluck these people out and go, you're going to do this, and they're going to go sound. We haven't really thought logistically about it. It's just purely who we'd like to see, whose talents we'd like to see in Doctor Who. And I think Adrian Lester would make a fantastic master. He would be really sort of cool, suave, but still have that sort of dangerous streak to him a bit. That sort of, you can't really, work out where you stand with him. I think he'd be really good. But I'd like to see him do any sort of part, really. He's got such a good range. He's got a few different credits under his belt of different things I've seen. Yeah. Most prominently, he starred in Hustle. But there's a few other different bits and pieces I've seen of him. So I think he's someone that Doctor Who should really utilise because he's got a lot of talent.
Yeah. My first pick is Jon Favreau.
Ooh.
For those who don't know, he's been really busy with Disney sorting out the mess that the Star Wars universe was left in after the sequel trilogy. And he's done a blooming good job. The Mandalorian is class. The Bad Batch, class. Andor was brilliant. He's done so much good work with the writing and overseeing everything going on over there. And he has such an in-depth, clear passion for the sci-fi universe. I generally think seeing his talents of writing coming into Doctor Who as purely just a writer, not directing or anything, I reckon it could be really top-notch quality stuff.
Yeah, he's clearly someone that's, like you said, quite a fan of the sci-fi genre and everything. I think, for me, if I was going to have Jon Favreau, I'd love to have him direct. I don't know how, big his knowledge pool of Doctor Who is, but as a director alone, I think give him a big special that Russell's written or something, and you give that to Jon Favreau to direct, you'd come up with something really special there. He's got such pacey direction, and he gets the whole genre. You know, look, like you said, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan in the world,
Yeah.
but I can't deny that The Mandalorian is brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it. The other stuff he's done, you know,
And it's also quite likely it could happen now that the Disney have got given a lot of budget towards
yeah.
Doctor Who now.
We still don't know the true extent of what Disney,
Yeah.
the Disney. Obviously, we know they're going to be distributing it and putting a lot of money into it. But are they going to be positioned to go, hey, we're putting all this money into it? Do you mind, you know, using some of this talent pool here?
yeah.
Or so I think that's a good choice, to be fair.
Yeah, because I could see it happening. It could be a very likely option. My only concern, I would love it to happen. I would just be terrified it not working. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't think it's something I would like to see him do full time. Maybe
No, it'd have to be the
but
odd
sort
special.
of the odd episode. Maybe give him give him a finale to direct or something, or a special here and there. But hey, if he's got a big creative knowledge of Doctor Who, then why not? You know?
it's
I don't know
definitely
if
a good
I don't know if he's ever said. I don't stalk the man, so I don't know.
No, I've just been really enjoying Mandalorian.
It has been very good this year. Didn't go much in the last episode though, but I haven't seen today's yet, which is episode 4.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, of series 3. But I've loved all of his stuff so far. Didn't he do a lot of Book of Boba as well?
He did a lot of Book of Boba.
Which
he
I enjoyed.
Was
Not many people
involved
did.
with the Clone Wars animated series. So if they do an
Never got
animated
into.
spin-off, he could do something with that.
That could be cool.
And he's doing Bad Batch now as well.
Not to mention that, but all the Marvel stuff he's done as well.
And the Marvel stuff. The guy is so talented. Like, get him into Doctor Who.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my next pick is the person I would like to see compose the music for Doctor Who. Now, we know that we've had Murray Gold and there's rumours that he's coming back, but nothing's been officially confirmed yet. And obviously, we've had Sega Nakanola doing Jodie's era. But my pick for the new composer for Doctor Who would be David Buckley. David Buckley is a British composer who's done lots of different things from games to TV stuff. Most recently, the things I've experienced he's done was the soundtrack to The Sandman, the new Netflix adaptation, which had a cracking soundtrack.
I finally watched that, and it was incredible.
Finally. I've been trying to get into watch it for ages. If you
it is incredible. Give it a watch.
If you're a fan of anything sort of sci-fi fantasy related, you will honestly love this. Even if you're not a fan of I'm quite into the comics. Other people haven't been as fan into the comics, but really got into it anyway because it is such a well-made show. But I think he did some really sort of very big orchestral pieces in some places, very Murray Gold stuff. But then he also does quite there's some sort of synthy, very 80s sounding Doctor Who music in there as well for stuff like Where Dream Visits Desire in their chamber. That piece of music there is very sort of evocative of radiophonic workshops. So I think he's one of those composers that could take Doctor Who in different forms, whether it be a futuristic sci-fi episode or like a historical or like a present, or just building on like character themes and stuff and just really nail it. I'm trying to think of other things he's done off the top of my head that people might know. He did the soundtrack to Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah, I did hear that, and that was that was a really good soundtrack. The game flopped, but the soundtrack was good.
Underrated game.
Fair enough.
It's definitely worse. Anyway, sidetracking already. I just think he's got a really sort of. He's like I said about Adrian Alessio, the man's got range in terms of what he can do, music and compositions and stuff, and I think he would be really well utilised in the world of Doctor Who just because of the sheer variety of the show itself.
My pick again, composer. His name is Trevor Morris. He did the soundtrack. Probably the most famous one he's done is Vikings.
That's why that name rings a bell.
Yeah, so he done Vikings from 2013 all the way up to 2020. Brilliant series. He's done a lot of other stuff as well. He done the soundtrack, the music for London Has Fallen and Olympus Has Fallen.
Oh god, those sheer box office masterpieces.
No, for just a blow up, guns blazing, fun film.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're judging the soundtrack, not the film.
Yeah, he also done Immortals, the Scorpion King 3. Got the Rock in it. Not the most amazing stuff of a film, but
He's
he has
done the most out there, the most sort of Oscar-winning films. But hey,
they are good films though. But then he's also gone on to do Vikings Valhalla is his most recent.
Is that the Netflix one?
Yeah, it is the Netflix one.
I haven't seen that yet.
He's done a fair bit, and as like a period type thing. Oh, if you want, he's done Need for Speed Carbon, the soundtrack for that. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, Dragon Age Inquisition as well.
I played that.
Yeah, so an
Army good soundtrack actually.
Army of 2. So he's done some good work. And
nice bit of variety in there again as well.
Yeah, so he's done a lot. He's been around. I feel if they go back towards touching on the Viking stuff, like, again, it's not for the whole series. It would be for specific episodes.
Yeah.
But if they touch on Vikings in any shape or form, be it on a distant planet and their interpretation of it, in history, in the future, I reckon you get this guy in for the soundtrack for that, because he's done the work before. He knows how to do it. And Vikings, the music in that was incredible.
Yeah, I think what I think would benefit Doctor Who, maybe, not all the time, but if you had sort of a revolving door of composers like you do with directors and writers,
Yeah.
Like the classic series did, it wasn't always the same. All right, it was majoritively Dudley Simpson through like the 70s and everything, but even then you get different people. You get like Carrie Blyton coming in on Malcolm. Is it Malcolm Clark? I can't remember off the top of my head. But there was a different, set of composers, and especially in the 80s then, where it was someone different pretty much every other week. I think just that bit of variety as well would really add a bit more life. It makes each episode feel like its own identity.
Yeah.
As well, whilst sort of keeping it quite connected too. So yeah, that was a good pick. It was a good pick.
Yes, and on to your last one, or have you got more than 3?
I've got I've only got 3 this time. I've decided not to go over. But my last pick is probably the one I'd be most excited for out of the ones, and that would be Edgar Wright to direct an episode or a special or something. Edgar Wright has been behind some of my favourite films ever, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz.
Guy's incredible.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that he did a brilliant film version of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which is one of my favourite films of all time.
Oh, it's great.
It's really... I think his directing style has got so much to it, because he can do sort of like, in Hot Fuzz, where you've got like sort of quite snappy cuts in the action stuff. All right, it's not an action film per se, it's, but it's still shot like it is.
Yeah.
And I think that really adds quite a lot of, I don't know what the word is, but it does bring a bit more to it, if that makes sense. I think his vision for things and the way he, knows exactly what he wants to get out of each project, Scott Pilgrim has some very interesting directorial choices in, with the sort of comic book aesthetics going on, and I think it's very pacey. It's got a lot of life to it, and I think giving him a big special, I'd love to see, because there were rumours that he was attached to the 60th anniversary at some point. I thought a 60th anniversary Doctor Who directed by Edgar Wright and written by Russell T Davies has got the potential to be one of the best things ever put to television, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know I'm biased because I'm a big fan of all of the things I've just mentioned there. Not just 60th anniversaries in particular, that's just weird. But what I'm saying is that he's got that sort of flair, he's got that, he can look at it and he knows what he's doing with it. There's a couple of things I still have got to watch from him, but I know he's sort of, he's worked with Doctor Who actors before as well. He did a film with Matt Smith. He's obviously worked with, Simon Pegg and everything. But I just think he's got such a vision for it, and what he wants to do is so, I don't know, it's so out there. But at the same time, he knows what he wants and he knows how to get it.
Yeah.
I think really, really does work, to be fair.
My final pick as director, again, not for...
Just copy me.
No. Not for the whole series. Again, it's just for specific episodes, or a couple of episodes here and there if they tend to stick to the same sort of theme. His name is Tom Harper. The biggest work I think he'd done, or I think I could call it his biggest, was Peaky Blinders.
Oh, right. Okay.
He directed quite a few episodes in the first series. He also done work on Misfits and across all of that.
Oh, I love Misfits.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in years.
So he only done 4 episodes on that, but he done a fair bit. He did do good work.
Does it say
on
which
that.
one he did? Because there's some episodes of Misfits that are directed very sort of quite like Edgar Wright. They're very unique and in their own sort of. And there's an episode where they do sort of like a film noir tribute, and you'll get like shots of just people talking like we're doing now, and then it'll cut, and it'll look like sort of the camera, I don't know, the aspect ratio will sort of shrink down. It goes into black and white and everything. And
yeah,
now that'd be quite interesting if that was him. I don't even know. I could have just been making that up.
But he done The Woman in Black, Angel of Death as well. He was involved with that. That was quite a good film. It was obviously the sequel to The Woman in Black.
I guess that bit.
But yeah, I think as it comes to period pieces, he seems to do very good. And I think if you're going to go back in history to World War II, World War One sort of era, Britain or the world, then he's your guy. He's done the work in there before. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to work with that sort of time period. And the proof's in the pudding, like Peaky Blinders, great success.
Great success.
The Woman in Black film, again, brilliant film. Done really well. I really enjoyed it. There are going to be some people who didn't enjoy it as much, but I thoroughly loved it. I didn't poo myself, so...
Congratulations on that one.
No, they're done good there.
What a way to end your list.
And Misfits, again, I thoroughly loved.
Well,
First 3 series.
there's some good bits in series 4. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
the episode I said
It
about
does
the
tail
Noir
off.
agreement comes
It does
in series
tail
4.
off when they start losing the main cast.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that doesn't really survive the cast change as well as other shows have. Like,
Yeah.
I think of things like Being Human, for example, completely change cast by the end of it, but still stay fantastic. But
Top
Misfits
notch.
just sort of...
It tailed off, unfortunately.
But I still think that there are some good bits to it, and that's to be fair, my complaints with Misfits mostly come from the writing more than anything towards the end of it. But there's some good picks there. I think we've got. You know, obviously as well. Let us know who you'd like to see on Doctor Who. They can be anybody that's not been attached to it before, basically, whether it's an actor, a writer, director, composer, editor,
Stuntman, whatever. Like
anything you want. But we just want to know
Within
because if we. Well, yeah, we don't specifically say we want my nan to make the cups of tea.
Yeah.
But anybody that sort of can work on it creatively, why not?
Yeah. No. Yeah, we'd love to see your picks for that. It's always an interesting chat, this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you get some new up and comers as well coming out, and you can have you can revise some stuff.
Yeah, I think for me, in terms of stuff like this, Doctor Who works when you mix sort of like veterans of the industry, but also bringing in new blood at the same time.
Yeah,
like
running them up to
I
speed.
don't like the idea of as much as I'm grateful and excited for Russell T Davies to be back and everything, I don't want it to just be just Russell T Davies. And it's obviously not going to be. We're going to get new writers and stuff, but I don't want it to say just be him and Stephen Moffat and the same people that wrote before. Like, we need new ideas into it. Obviously, get people back. I would love to see Stephen Moffat come back and do like a 2-part or something, you know. But you've got to mix it with sort of new people, because eventually you're going to have new people to take over the show.
Yeah, and it's always good for new people as well to have on their resume, I worked on Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's such a well-known and such a well-loved show. You do a good job on that, and then people are going to sing your praises for as long as they can. And it will launch your career.
Oh yeah, 100%. I just, like I said, there's so many. It's such an interesting discussion to have, like, of how Doctor Who should be made. Whether sort of narratively, production wise, should it be 8 episodes a year? Should it be 30? Whatever. I just think that mixing new talent with old veterans, I think old veterans sounds like they're really sort of like OAPs. They're not, but you know what I mean. People that have been around and know the show very well.
It's the only way to keep a show going forward, because if you don't have that transition period, the writing might fall off when you start trusting the younger writers and stuff. But that's natural. Like, you're gonna get that dip. You see it in all industries where that happens. It's just them learning the craft.
Yeah, and you look at things like Sylvester McCoy's era. The majority of Sylvester McCoy's era, if bar a couple of stories here and there, was all written by really new writers, because Andrew Cartmel, the script editor, really wanted to bring in new blood, and you get some like things like Remembrance of the Daleks, right? That Ben Aronovich now is like a very highly regarded novelist who's got a very popular series of books out, but he cut his teeth on writing Remembrance of the Daleks, which has gone down as one of the best stories of all time.
Yeah.
Ian Briggs did Dragonfire, and then Curtis Fenrick. You've got Stephen White doing Paradise Towers and Great Show in the Galaxy. You've got people really getting into things there, and I think that's provided all you need at the end of the day is people that get what they're doing and can do it well.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who they are.
No.
But that doesn't mean that it wouldn't be nice to dream of people like John Favreau coming in to do a bit, or David Buckley composing the score or anything. And if any of these happen now, I feel like the BBC owes some sort of prize money.
Yes, please.
Yeah, if it's announced tomorrow that Edgar Wright's doing an episode,
or John Favreau's getting involved somehow. Yeah, we want money, please.
Yeah. And if Adrian Lesser's agent's watching this, you're welcome. Anyway, that's all from us today. Thank you very much for joining us. This has been a sort of slightly rambly chat, but it's what we do best.
It's a good chat nonetheless.
Yeah, so we will see you next week for more of the same.
Yes, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell to stay notified when we put a video up.
I'm so glad you remember to do that.
Yeah, so am I. Yeah.
Anyway.
Have a nice evening or day or whatever.
Enjoy your weekends. We'll see you next week.
Wibbly wobbly.
Timey-wimey.